with you this morning. I apologise first off for the commencement of the programme, as you mentioned in your catalogue, but that was due to an unscheduled event with the field marshal looking at a new unrivaled display here this morning. Our first programmed event of the morning is the parade of commercial vehicles, and as we see they are just coming into the arena now. I can say that my name is Alan Lloyd, and I'm delighted to be joined by my colleague here on my left, Mark Walker. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Alan. The sun's coming out. Lovely day. We didn't have any rain this week. It's typical weather, wonderful weather, and the sun is hot. And as Alan said, the one to start with the first old model is a Gardner engine Scamel. Scamels will probably be in their name a bit more later on, because they were the major phone that they had called it. This particular role is a balance track. Instead of having a fifth wheel company like the lorry behind it, the box behind the car where weight sits, and they pull all of the very little corner on there. Very fine paint job on here. The notice that when you buy the Scamel, it's almost like buying the steering wheel, like a ship steering wheel.
Sometimes it feels like you've got a steering ship with one of these old camels. And interesting feature of this lorry, you mentioned you had a Gardner engine, I think, Mark. Quite well done with the version, 5-cylinder, on the lower power, 6. Quite unusual to have a 5 in this size of camel. Following from the camel is something much more modern. This is the Scania, the big 141. 6x4 Arctic tractor with the fifth wheel coupling. Now when we say 6x4, what we mean is 6 wheelers on 3 axles, and double drive with the most of the rear axles drive. So it's effectively got double the traction of a single drive 6x2.
Following on from that is a strength of fit. Morris. I wonder if we're getting in and out.
This is a lorry that brings back memories for me because I did my training as part of my test using one of these lorries, the 300 series. This is the largest of them, the 2417, which has the 13 V8 turbocharged diesel engine, the most powerful engine that's ever been made at the time, and you see it also very rare of that particular dog.
Next for the Volvo MH12. This is the first Volvo lorry that had common rail fuel very rare with us.
They got their development right. We've now got the Camel Crusade, 6-wheeler double drive. The Camel Crusade is available as a 4x2 tractor and the heavier version with the double drive back end. This one is a roll engine, actually either a 290 or a 305. And it's very well made to take the 305. Which the pressure which can be used by a number of different manufacturers.
And following that is a Model T truck, over a 1-ton truck. And Model T, where they built the largest number of cars, they certainly have produced wonderfully reliable, easy to fix, came forward a great reputation.
And we have another D series, this is the heaviest weight version of the D series we've got here. This is a tipper, double drop side tipper, which is a quite unusual body arrangement. So this is versatile in terms of where you can tip, which way you can tip it, and how much you can release of the material in the bound body you can release.
Following a Bedford, we said Bedford earlier, but this is a Bedford test type. You can get it in a variety of engines. Bedford, either made by Bedford or Welland, and it makes it American.
And that's a double dog side notice body, quite a lot. Probably used something like Colbert or possibly carry Wiltshire.
And then there's a Bedford, the W type, serviceable man, nothing paintwork. Probably 1930, that thing,
We have that pre-war, yes. Here we are. We've got another camel. This is Hammond.
No, this is just a normal Crusader.
It's a Crusader.
You can tell by the noise, it might be something different.
I'm going to say this is 6x4 Crusader, and if you listen carefully, you'll hear the sound of the two engine. Very
That's a Welland road crane. This was Welland's answer in the 1980s for the European Challenge, and I always thought they were rather a good lorry.
I like it. I've never got a chance to drive one any different than I always made. And if you look at this one, it's like a two arrangement. And the forward of the two rear axles is actually a second steering axle, not a driver.
And following that is the Welland Marathon. If you know anything about Welland lorries, this actual Marathon is the first one they made. And it was used for evaluating and demonstration. You'll notice it doesn't have drive, because they use it on travelling to the Middle East for promotional work, to find an owner, and the owner they found for it was Tony Moore.
Earlier, and this lane marathon is designed around the same output from the proprietary car manufacturer Motor Panels Company. We've got an Option A40 van, and following on to that is a good old friend of mine, Andrew Bird, local routing contractor in the northern area, and here he is with his lovely Morris commercial, with all the kit coming and putting the slates back on the room after a bit of a gale, flying straight. This, for me, is an unusual venture of this size. It's not small things. Very rare, I think. By the look of it, it's based on the DX car of about 637. We've got the grill, and that of course was the Vauxhall car, and Vauxhall and Bedford were two parts of the British operation on General Motors.
I think the 214 that's actually a Chevrolet engine made in England.
It is, yes. I have a Vauxhall car and the 40 horsepower one, 6-cylinder, and that's basically scaled down Chevrolet Stovall. So we got a Volkswagen pickup, my very first car, quite a pickup, and like Sony, we got although I have to say, I'm rather glad these days, with the past few years, that I am a little bit more confident than my
Next we have an Atkinson Warbler with a Cummins engine. Have you got a David Brown or a David Brown gearbox? This is a 6-speed gearbox. Some of them you can get a fuller gearbox in the Davies. These, I would say at one point in the early 1970s, that's probably the most common truck on the road.
This is always the gaffer's way. Usually with 180 cars, it is case with a bigger engine. But the David Brown 6-speed gearbox, I have to say, is not my favourite. Give me one of these with a 9-speed puller, and I'll be in absolute heaven.
And driver, do you have power steering? If that was an option, you're lucky. I think it's been an accident with the baby around the power steering. I'm not judging. It's probably
lovely lorry, and absolutely the epitome of long-distance trudging, articulated four-axle trudging in this country in the late 60s, early 70s.
And they made them up to 1975, and they still have a timber frame cab with fiberglass surround.
It must have been the last coastal cab on the market.
Next is a direct. German company. It's an MAN cab, but still assembled. But they can stand back and all they do is a compression work.
Not sure. But if you look at it later from the grill, you'll see the ERS tag. Underneath it is the little rectangular MAN logo, which indicates the voice MAN stop.
That's just something the last
Yes, this latest Buffalo Arctic tractor now played as a fairground tractor with the 6LW Gardner engine set. If you want to look what the Gardner engine looks like, there you are, ladies and gentlemen. Have a look at the generator on the back. Lovely white and red Welland, and you'll see the Gardner in all its glory.
Next, we have an 86 Ford with a 4D engine. They are a lovely, easy lorry to ride. When they first came out, they were all the cost so they could affect them. I don't think they ever touched cost, so they were the diesel engine and then it was terrific.
And it was a typical sort of lorry that a local builder would have, and this one indeed is written up to a self-employed builder, so very period in terms of its presentation and indeed delivery.
And next we have a diamond team. A diamond team is known for their military work, but this is a civilian one. I think this must be the most requirement.
It has been a regular attender at these shows, I think, since the very first one, virtually the very first one in 1960, when it was owned by the old Grey Horse. A lovely lorry, you see it every year. You can see from the heritage registration, which is local to this part of the world, and it's an unusual and stylish American truck.
Next is another Atkinson Warbler, again with a double engine. I must say that is a beautiful paint job.
Isn't it? Lovely lorry, lovely livery. And I can't see, I've been hearing, trying to see if I can look up the duckboard to see which the gearbox is particularly, and I can't get it.
An Albion, and that's the first Albion. This cab didn't have it there, but the Coventry okay with Albion across. And of course it's an LA6. Albion, of course, when they get over, they don't know their own. And of course, he's 30.
And they tended to the trucks of this size, and if the LAD cab, as you say here, is another product from Motor Manufacturing.
And that lorry would have been built at Barcade in Scotland, wouldn't it?
Yes, I've read that. Camel Explorer. What do we say about the Camel Explorer?
Very nimble and agile.
A fabulously complete kit. It is the standard Army, British Army post-war recovery tractor, 6x6 with a different front axle. They all originally had the Camel Meadows 6V630 petrol engines in them, but in civilian work, virtually every one has been re-engined with a diesel. The Welland 680s are very popular engine to put in them. Some people are managed to keep them coming down 10 inches to 9 engines, quite narrow for a 612. But this one is renowned because it's got a 220 roll diesel, and what an engine. And I'm sure that we'll give it a bit of petrol as he goes off now.
Series 1 Land Rover, as he said, he's changed the bell housing with a B430 quite a large engine for an Actros, because anyone who's seen that, you know, but they only have a small little 4x8 engine, which is like 1600 petrol, that was originally in there. From the small garage, here we have the Camel structure. These were a fairly rare and very select heavy haulage structure. 6 foot another 3 of them, about a dozen I think. And Camels made 2 batches of 2 with right-hand drive and Rolls-Royce 250 horsepower supercharged engine. This is one of the pair that went to pretty skillful shipbuilders. This one went to the Maryland Bernard Yard of Vickers on the nuclear submarine program, and it's this tractor, which I have to say I own 25 years, I have no longer got regrettably. That was at Birkenhead, and halfway through the working life of the thing, it was sent up the M6 to join this one. They worked in Hampton in the British Yard. Yeah, 6.6 with Camel said no longer after this tractor model they didn't make any more 6x6s, all the heavy 6x4, and quite honest with you, I think it's one of the most effective heavy haulage tractors ever made. They weigh 280, but they take more. Next is a Alpha series. It's sort of an Alpha. It's has the jack, so it's different. It's not the easy lorry to use, and they lead up to the 2006. It's good to see that Andy's got it finished, of course. He's looking forward to seeing this on the top side, yes. And he demonstrated his delight that he's now being able to drive it, as Tracy said. But a feature of this lorry you'll notice is it's a 6x2 with the second steering axle in front of the drive axle, and it's air-lifted. So as he drives it around, you'll see that the wheels are lifting above the ground and are being carried. And when you load the trailer up to full weight, you operate the air system to drop that axle to take some of the weight. Now that's the first of the boats. We've got a stream of boats coming in now. The next one is the next 21 boat, which anyone who's associated with us knows that there's a Mickey Mouse. This was the first fiberglass cabin did after the Coachville S20. Some people even sent their lorry back to Folkestone and recabbed with this cab on. This was an 8-wheel semi-bolt tipper. I can't tell, we haven't ripped it up. Is it a 2-stroke or a Gardner? It's a Gardner in the front. We've got 2-stroke mixers behind. There's also the S21 powered one. These demonstrating that you can hear it Gardner going on. And you'll notice, ladies and gentlemen, that it's a very compact 8-wheeler, very short in the wheelbase, and you'll see from the position spare wheel is carried between the second and third axle that there's only just enough room for an extra wheel in the length of the entire chassis. Aluminium floor in the body, so it has quite a good payload with a fiberglass cab. You get the full weight of it. We're doing 24 tonners, right? Yes, yes. So that would have given you about 50 and a half payload. I would think it's probably going to 12 feet here. Oh, for sure. But it shows the space itself. Now, this boat timber also has the S21 now, 5 miles now. But this has the legendary, I have to say, foam 2-stroke diesel, which is a Mark 6. So it's a large engine that is most powerfully made without a turbocharger, and we let it go past, and then I suspect the driver will give it some score, and you will hear the wonderful sound, the unmistakable, the unique sound of a boat speaker. It's probably understood it is. I mean, they have travelled with foreign operations. A couple of this boat, the Obrigham tipper, was one of the most popular Dixie toys. Yes, yes. And next is an S20. Now I said S21, this is the one we had before. This is a completely ashtray coach.
Might have a bit of wind, but... so dry.
Both Alan and I are very fond of the
Yeah.
quality of the restaurant.
Have you seen the countryside round here?
I'm fond of the lorry anyway,
Oh, yeah.
but this is a beautiful example.
It's become like a desert round. I dread to think what's what it's like back in Sussex. I've been told
We
it's
come
really.
from Devon. Not so.
Yeah, I actually asked how things were down there, up there, the school bit, and they said, well, the lawn's ground.
Yeah.
I haven't had to do mowing in about 2 months.
In
that dry, nothing's great.
The horsepower available for the truck makers initially to 150 horsepower with the 6LX and then to 180 horsepower with the 6LXB. Next is a timber tractor, particularly sticking up at the back is an anchor will do a job put in the spread and the till drifting spread. I think it's just a full press. They had just an assembly plant or a factory now. Good. So this might be a British built one. At plant 3, we have a Meadow 60J 420, a 40J 420 engine in, or Yarden. A Yarden MW or LK. So, yeah. If you turn the series, it goes to the 4-wheel drive. One of the bad things about these is that they have 4-wheel steer as well as 4-wheel drive. They were designed obviously for working in the woods under difficult conditions. And the lever you see to the right of the driver's foot is the lever to disengage the rear steering and lock the back axle in the forward position. If it's set up correctly, otherwise it will steer itself constantly to one side. A friend of mine had a Mark 1 Matil with disengaging steering, but it wasn't set up properly, and he tried to load it onto a hyper with his trailer, and he had to start about 45 degrees, but it's still high on the trailer square. Next, an Atkinson Venture. All of the names Atkinson tell you whether they're either 2 axle, 3 axle, or 4 axle. Then if they're a rigid or a rigid, it would be a Thursday. But this is a track unit with a Gardner 8-cylinder 8LXB 240 horsepower with a Cummins gearbox. We know this truck it's got 4 axles. It's forestry, it's legendary. And I remember it when I was Hall of Death Bay, bought it off John afterwards, hauled the death around it for quite a few years. I've got a particular soft spot for Atkinson, you may have guessed by now, ladies and gentlemen, and I was privileged on a number of occasions to drive for Colour Street there, and they had a venture obviously as a fairground lorry, and it was without doubt unquestionably the best lorry it had on the fair, and I always try and get it out as soon as people want to drive it. I have to agree with you, Alan, but it broke the Belgium, and it was just a sort of tip on it, which is nice to go. Next is an ARMC series. They went from the A series to the B series. The B series has been SP now, it's an SP factory. Those classic series. The grill is slightly different on it, but this one, the rear axles, they're only one wheel car rather than twin. And I think most of these were designed for all of the petrol tanks, fuel tanks, the right way. And it's what it's called super single. When you've got one single wide tyre, where a conventional lorry would have 2 twin rears, that's known as super single, both on tractors and on trailers. What the activities got coming? I would think it's a Cummins. A Cummins 290, an L10. Yes, it's not quite the height. And you notice the windows on the back of the cab have got metal frame rather than rubber, and that's to make the glass through for the fuel. That was a 73 petroleum frame truck. Right, now then, we're going to go into the gun. Some of these V10 diesel, I don't know if this was a V8, I was thinking of a V8 being a van. That's in America, everybody has a truck. They call it not a pickup, but they just call it a truck. They just go to the store and drive them around to the farm. And this is all right. It's got a coming to it, so that must be a super digging. Which is to say that you put in the latest road runner, what we call the small gunner. Yeah. That's powerful. We've got an absolutely lovely six-wheel boat here. This is a Brindle DT, an example of the earliest pretty well off the boat three-way tipper. I was just about to say, it's interesting three-way tipper with double topside, which means it's a very versatile truck for a small haulier, because by pulling the various hinges out of the hinges under the body of the lorry, you can make it tip to the left, to the right, or as conventionally to the rear. It's on 40 by 8 tyres, so if you look at most of the other trucks, they're on 20-inch wheel sections. This one looks different because the wheel sections are actually 24 inch. 40 inches tall, and the rubber section is 8 inches, but this is the largest height you can get on a normal truck. The Gardner engine, all the boats of the steering have Gardners, and I would imagine it's an 8-speed Bowden gearbox, which is a 4-speed.